Thanks for joining in to this episode of The Root Brand. Stay healthy and enjoy.
And we want to welcome all of His Glory Nation from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5. First one on Thursday. Amazing, it's April 28th. We're going into, Dr. Chistina was asking me where I was going to be next week, and I couldn't think where I was going to be. I know I'm going to be in South Carolina in 2 weeks. We just got back from Tulsa and Ohio, another place in Ohio, so we're on the move. And then I think June will be in Kansas. July is Virginia Beach. The schedule is packed. Not as much as our next guest. Every time I see a picture of her or talk to her, she's literally in a different country. It's absolutely amazing. So we're going to bring back Dr. Chistina Rahm. Welcome back to His Glory. It's always a pleasure to see you and have you on.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I always enjoy talking to you. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
It's a blessing, and I don't just say this. People who know me know I will not talk about a product unless it actually works, and I use your products every day. I use these two right together, and they replace my lunch. So this is my lunch that I have every day when I'm in the office, and I take the Root every day. And when I was traveling, I was like, oh boy, I'm just not that clear. So I said, aha, let me take another one on the road. So it's in my bag. So I got it everywhere I go now. So I use it every day.
I you know what, I do too, and I say this all the time. There's lots of people that make products that I like, right? But I think those were made specifically to really help detox and eradicate things out of the body and then support. So I just got back from, England, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. Wow. And so I'd been to Mexico. I came home for 2 days. I went to another place in Mexico and then left. And everyone's like, how did you go to all the places and not get sick? And I was like, I take the products every day. Right. I really do. Yeah.
So what about your energy? How do you do with your energy with those many trips?
So I was up till 2:00 every morning on those trips for work, because it's hard. You know this. When you're traveling, you're also still working, right, with what you're doing. And then I did talks on stage. I did meetings and everything in each country. And so I would go to bed at 2, get up at 6, and then when I got home, same thing. I had to get up at 6. So, I went 33 hours, which is not good, because, your body has to have sleep, 33 hours on the way there. And then, but I can just tell you the Relive Greens and the Restore and Zero In for me for energy are a must. I think I've told you, the Relive Greens says 1 teaspoon. I take 3. I'm like you. I use it as a meal replacement. It really helps me. There's a new product which we haven't launched yet. It's called Give Me Back My Youth. It's a collagen and colostrum. It's about really good for anti-aging, but also really good to help with the microbiome of the stomach and energy. And I have been taking that with the Relive Greens and the natural barrier support when I do a shake. So it really works. The Zero In for me is I only take 1, and I know people take 4. I know that. And now if I'm really tired, like on the trip, I'll take 2, and I don't take them at the same time. I take it in the morning and at lunch, just to help with the neurotransmitters and to not get down. Because as you know, when you're on these trips, you're bombarded with a lot of different things. Yes, you are. And they're not all positive. Yeah. and so you just try to do your best, and those help me. And I love it because I think I've told you this. I don't think of them as my formulas. I think of them as nature and what God has given me the brain to be able to do and to help. And so I think for causes like you have and like I have, it's significant. I still keep telling everyone I'm going to go to Israel with Pastor Dave.
Well, you're welcome. We just booked our trip in November. We'll be there over Thanksgiving. And then we're booking another trip in February. So whenever you're ready, we're going. We got one already signed up, and we're launching February's trip this week.
How do I get that information? I know we're on an interview, but I really want to.
Yeah, you can get it directly through me.
Okay.
We can get you set up.
Okay.
This trip in November, we're going to be staying at the King David Hotel the whole time, and then going to places that nobody else can go to in the world. We have a lot of connections with former Israeli generals and colonels and people in the good part of the government, and so it's amazing. It's an absolutely amazing trip.
Well, I'd love to go. I mean that. And I know that my schedule is busy, but I definitely feel like that's one of the places that's important for me to go to. And I will actually be in Cyprus in October. I'm going to send you information because I'd love to invite you to speak at a conference we're having there. You know, I got to meet the president over there.
That's right.
And I'm doing some stuff with different universities. I'll tell you all about that later. But you know, for me, going back to your question, I am a normal person. I'm a human. So I have to give my body what it really needs to make it through times like traveling, because you do need to sleep, and you know how important it is. Like from a scientific perspective, we have to sleep, but there are times in our lives, it's like when a mother has a child, you know, and she's up all night, or when you go through different things in your life or you're working, you have to have that energy. And I say this all the time, one of the hardest jobs in life is being a mother and being home and having to clean and having to cook and having to, you know, help with the children. And I think that's one of the reasons too I'm able to travel is I've had 4 kids, and I've had to make myself, I wish I would have had all of these products when I had little babies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you last time you were on, and I think your husband Clayton was talking about too, that your son takes these as well. He's a basketball player.
Yes, especially the Zero N. Kreider has always had, actually, my 3 sons have always had ADHD, and they're very active, they're very athletic, but they also have, you know, this issue with concentration, and I have not allowed them to be on medication for that, which I'm not saying I made the right decision, but for me, I was just worried they'd get addicted to it. I just did not want them. I've tried to have them learn to adapt to having this difference of the way they think. And so my kids, the Zero N, all 3 of the boys, it's very important. And my daughter, actually, who's 16, it's the one thing she'll ask me for: Mom, can I have Zero N? And then the Relive Greens are really great, not just for supplementing the body, but also for detoxing. I did a whole presentation when I was over in Europe about how all of the products combined help get heavy metals and toxins out of the body, so that your body can help be stronger, can help with anti-aging, can help with weight, metabolism, hormones, and everything else. Because it's really important that you approach health and wellness with your whole body and every single part, and not just one area, like with a vitamin, right? You've got to approach all of it. So yeah, my kids are on the products. I don't think I think I feel so good about the fact that I'm giving them natural things, that there's no synthetics, they're cruelty-free, vegan, you know, even the Relive Greens, no wheat, GMO-free, GMO DNA tested, which means the parents of the plants, you know, genetically were even tested. So I feel great. You know, it's much better than going to McDonald's and giving your kids a hamburger.
Yeah,
not to talk bad about
McDonald's. You've heard the stories of people keeping a McDonald's hamburger for like 5 years. It's still sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's what goes in our body.
Yeah. And they use all kinds of chemicals. And again, I don't want to talk bad about anyone else, but I feel so good about when I travel, because you don't know what you're going to be able to eat.
Right.
And it's really, you know, it used to be when I would travel, I'd gain weight, and now I don't, because I make sure that I do the Relive Greens and the Zero N and the Restore and the natural barrier support, and it really helps me. I've always had GI issues. So the Relive Greens has pre and probiotics in it. And then with the Give Me Back My Youth, it's a collagen and a colostrum, which most people have never taken colostrum. And this is from an animal, but it's cruelty free, but your colostrum is lactose free. It's not a milk, it's colostrum, right? And so it really helps with the growth hormones in your body, and it's really great for anti-aging. But for me, for my stomach, if I take the Relive Greens with the Give Me Back My Youth, my stomach issues, I don't have them. And people don't know this, but when people have stomach issues, like with their GI, it affects the microbiome, affects the entire body. People that have GI issues have a 70% higher chance of having depression, anxiety, and everything else, and they look older. Right. So for me, every time my stomach hurts, I'm like, I don't want to look older. I need to
I don't want to put you on the spot because you're very humble, but I'm going to back up for a second to let His Glory family know how many degrees you have, because I still have not met anybody in my life that has as many degrees as you do. Can you just explain again? Again, I know it's not about you, and you're very humble, but it just gives a perspective to our audience that you know what you're talking about when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I have a bachelor's of arts. I have a master's of science. I have my first doctorate degree is counseling psychology, and it's a longer story. I have actually 2 degrees, doctorate degrees in that, and then I have a PhD from a unaccredited school that is in London. It was online, and it's in strategic sciences. And I did a lot. It's interesting because we should talk about this sometime. But I did that whole degree program was strategic sciences around like biological warfare. I really should send you some of the articles I've written. It was about like how do you strategize, how do you use sciences when there's different types of war around scientific areas. So it's even though it's a PhD in strategic science, it's really around strategic thinking and enduring warfare. And I was extremely interested in that because of all my travel and meeting different presidents and prime ministers and everything. I wanted to be able someday to consult. I've actually not done a lot of it, a little bit, but not much in that area. And then my postdoc, after all that was over, I did a certification program from Cornell in nutrition and counseling, and then a certification program, which I was in with a lot of generals and colonels and people with pharmaceutical management and operations. And again, I wanted to be able to be part of the solution that we could help people, during different times. And then I do have the graduates. There used to be a graduate certification program. It took me 3 years at Harvard in their graduate program, and I did that and graduated with nanotechnology and that from Harvard. And so, but it's funny, the one thing I always get criticized for is the 1 degree that I really don't use that was in strategic science, because it was the one that was not accredited in the United States, because, the United States, we kind of think we're the only accredited schools, but there's actually other schools in other countries.
Right. So that's absolutely amazing. So these products are incredible. You talk about, I didn't take these because of weight loss, but I went through a 2-week period where I was really run down from traveling, and I didn't work out, and I didn't gain any weight because I was using this as a meal supplement. It was amazing. Yeah. I was surprised.
Well, so the Relive Greens, that came out of, I had a brain tumor and a spinal tumor. Yeah. I had melanoma, squamous, basal cell, Lyme disease. I was really sick. And I researched about the grains and how spirulina and chlorella and barley, wheatgrass. And of course, if you can make that before it sprouts, you don't have any wheat and you don't have to worry about GMO, all the different things. I was really particular. I was supposed to go in to have a brain surgery, and they were going to go through my nose. And when I went in to do it, they had to do this pre-workout, and they couldn't find it. And then they said, well, there's a little dot. And what I did was I made my own formulas, morning, noon, and night. That's all I did was take it. I got down to like 90 pounds, which I don't advise for anyone. Mm-hmm. But that was all I did because I was trying to get rid of this brain tumor. Right. And I didn't want to do chemotherapy and radiation. I didn't want the chance of them going through the nose and then affecting my optical nerve. And the rest of my body was, at the time, because I'm old, that it was in my 20s, it was really high. And so the chance of something happening to me, so I threw myself into this formula that now is, Relive Greens. And what people don't understand is that helps detox the body. And I used ingredients that also are known for tumor suppression. I never claimed to cure anything. I just used things that I knew would target things to try to clean the body and then support the healthy cells. And while I was doing that, I also, of course, understood that chlorella and spirulina and wheatgrass, all of those speed up your metabolism. and really help you burn calories. So it's very interesting that we've had so many people lose weight. So it's pretty, and I want to tell you, some people won't take Give Me Back My Youth because it's not a vegan product. And some people are vegans, but for people that do, they will lose even more weight because it supports the microbiome and really working the right way.
And now that's the new product that's coming out?
Yeah, I have it right here. I don't know when they're going to launch it.
Okay.
And we're launching that with a celebrity. I can't say who the name is, but she's a wonderful person that I have a lot of respect for. And we, it has 2,000 milligrams of the bovine colostrum and the collagen. So like if you go to like Whole Foods or it's almost impossible to find colostrum because it's hard to source. So it took me a long time to be able to develop that product. And it is, you'll see. I need to send you some after this call, I'll get the information to make sure we can send you some so you can try it before we sell it.
I don't know if there's anything you can do with this face, but I have the face for radio, but we'll give it a try.
Well, hey, I like that point because when you do collagen and colostrum, of course, you take it internally, but we have people that know this. You can use it on your face. So like when you age, your skin, changes. Mm-hmm. But when you make a mask with collagen and colostrum, it really helps produce the collagen in the skin. But when you take it internally, it does as well. Not that you need help with your face. You have a beautiful face, but I'm just letting you know.
A face only a mother could love, right?
No, I didn't say that. But I think it's, it'll be interesting to see what you think about it.
I look forward to it. I keep going back to these Relive Greens because you know what? I've tried meal replacements before, and every time I tried a meal replacement, I'd have the shakes. It was just like it didn't fill me up. Yeah. It didn't sustain. I never have it, even with it just a little bit. I never have the shakes.
That's because I didn't put any caffeine. I didn't put any sugar, any sweeteners. I mean, it's all natural. I didn't want something that had calories. I wanted something that had protein and fiber and omegas and everything the body needed. And what's amazing is there's another product coming out. Again, I don't know when they'll launch it. It's called Mitochondria Shield Support, and it has NAD and quercetin, which we know the body stops producing NAD as you age. Yep. So I wanted something, and I've done NAD IV treatments. Have you ever done those?
No.
They're amazing, but if you're really tired, they're really good for the body. And a lot of people with addiction have used NAD treatments. A lot of people with cancer have used NAD treatments because they really help. It's hard to find a place that will give those. There's only one place in Nashville, and they'll come to your house and give them. But you can also get that effect from a supplement. You just have to take it every day. So I did produce a formula that will be coming out later, but I keep telling people in the Relive Greens, it actually has all of that inside those ingredients. I didn't have to add it because it's there. It produces it for the body. And I love the Relive Greens. I feel like everyone talks about the Trinity, clean slate, restore, and zero in. And of course, clean slate, especially during the time we've gone through, is very important. In fact, for people in Russia and Ukraine, I think I've shared this with you. I've spent a lot of time in Russia and Ukraine. It's hard for me because I have friends in both countries. Yeah. I actually was approached by a bunch of people when on this last trip that are in different countries now. And I've met the different governments on both sides. But in those countries and any country, you really, if you're exposed to radiation or heavy metals or everything, you really need the clean slate. But that Trinity is all we talk about. And I keep telling people, you got to take the Relive Greens. Like, it's really important. And I feel like as a company, I don't really control the company. I'm just the scientist, but I wish people would understand how much Relive Greens could really help them. And I'm glad you're talking about it because hopefully your audience will understand that.
Well, because it works. It works. Yeah. And I don't know what the cost is per serving, but one of these Relive Greens, it takes me probably 2 months to get through it.
Yeah.
Or a month and a half to 2 months. This is cheaper there's no way you could even get food from the grocery store cheaper than this.
No, there's not a protein. I've looked for something on that level, and I was trying to think. Yeah, of all the products at Root, that's the most expensive product to make right now. Now, the collagen and colostrum that's getting ready to be launched is a little bit more even. So the margins are not great for the company, but that product is again for countries or for people that have been exposed to radiation through cancer or different things, or they've been exposed in the environment, which we all are exposed, unfortunately. We know that now. But those ingredients in the relive grains, a lot of those are anti-cancerogenic, but they also are detoxification eradication. Like you look at chlorella and you look at spirulina, wheatgrass, barley, kale, broccoli, all of those, if you can get those in the pure form, they help get all of that out of the body. So it's really important. I think one of the reasons people lose weight is not just the metabolism being raised in the body from relive grains, but it's also their body's getting rid of and eliminating things that they don't need in the body.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And going back to the drop underneath the tongue and the root, I just every time I do that, my head gets clearer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I do what I do is I just want to help people. And for me, it's very significant during this time that people have good health and that their mind thinks clear, because I think psychologically, it's almost like we've undergone a psychological war game. That's how I feel. My background was psychology and then strategic science on that side. I just look at that as one of our biggest attacks that we've gone under. And spiritually, what you're doing is so important. Mentally, emotionally, I say this all the time. If you can psychologically, spiritually, especially spiritually, if you can be surrounded by people that really have faith and people that really give that, it's a game changer. The two things I always saw in pharmaceutical industry when working with the FDA was we would have, and I know I've said this to you before, but the nutritional supplements people would take and the lifestyle changes they would make, and the spiritual aspect those were the two main things that would make the biggest difference with patients that had illnesses. We would go in and people would be better. They didn't even try a pharmaceutical product. They weren't on a human monoclonal antibody. They were just better. And we couldn't report on it, but there was always this spiritual warfare basically going on around them and surrounding them. And then they also were doing positive things to their body because, we're a temple. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're supposed to take care of our bodies.
Yep, it is. It's so important to do that. And, the pharmaceutical company, the word pharmacy is from the word witchcraft.
Yeah, I know. There's been some things in my life that when you have your heart centered on the right things, you may not always make the right choices, but God speaks to you and makes sure that you see what the right path is. So for me, I'm not against pharmaceuticals. I am against hurting people and not being honest with people. Right. And so unfortunately, we've had a lot of that. And even with the nutraceutical industry, I say this all the time, we just need to be honest and tell the facts, and then people can make the right choices for their own body. But I think spiritually, one of the things I love is talking to other Christians and being able to be on the same page and just trying to do what we're supposed to do, because God sent us here for a reason, and we're each so significant and so important. I think one of the reasons I don't like to talk about my education a lot is I don't feel like it's my education that's produced what's here. I think it's God in my life. Amen. So, but I can't say that, I can't say that in a lot of different forums because people think, well, no, it was all the school and your career, but truly it's him. And his love for me and letting him use me as a vessel, which we all have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to have to get our sons together to play basketball.
We are. Yeah. I know you. So is your son taking the 0 in and the relive grain?
He's just starting. He's just starting to do that. So he's a huge. He just turned 15. He loves basketball, and so they would all get along real well.
You need to tell him that we have a lot of professional athletes on that product, but that they don't want to tell people the competitive edge. And we actually have a couple of teams right now on that product. Yeah. It's it really will give him a little bit of an edge where he can focus more and perform better because it's a performance enhancing product. But we're cleared by the BCG. I never say it right. BSCG or BCGA, where Olympic athletes and any professional athlete can use the product.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the athletes don't like to give away their secret sauce. I know quite a few of them and what they're taking and what they do, and they don't want it to be shared with anybody.
No, I met in London with one of the top, I won't give his name out, but one of the top golf professionals and throughout the world. I met with him for a dinner, and he said that because he wanted to give, he wanted to be part of the Root community, but he didn't want everyone to know that's why, because he had the best game he had ever played on Zero In and Relive Grains and Restore. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, well, I have a story about a famous golfer, Tiger Woods. When I was a director at AT&T, we shut Tiger Woods' phone off the day of the Masters.
Is that right?
Oh, did I take a lot of abuse for that? Yep.
What happened?
His agent didn't pay the bill, and it automatically turned off, and it was thrown on my lap that how can you shut off Tiger Woods' phone? It was the morning before or the night before the Masters, and I was like, well, we got it back on, but that's my Tiger Woods story.
I met him at Torrey Pines. I used to live in San Diego. I was working for Pfizer, and I met him. And he was very nice, very, very nice.
Yeah. Just don't shut his phone off.
No, I'm sure he was furious.
I don't know if he was or not. I didn't talk to him personally, but his agent got involved, and so we got it back on quickly. But these athletes, they're very particular on their secret sauce. That's what they tell me. It's their secret sauce because it's such a competitive issue for them to have the edge.
Yeah, I've worked with some. I think I may have mentioned it before, with some athletes from Wimbledon too.
Yep.
And of course NBA and NFL. We have a lot of people, but it's really odd how they don't want to talk about it. Like even if now your retired athletes will, but the ones that are currently doing, they don't want to because they don't want someone using what they're using. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a matter of a half a second, a quarter of a second. I mean, catching a ball or making a basket, it's competitive.
It's very competitive, yeah.
What would you like to discuss to the audience in closing?
Well, I'd love to tell people that, in the travels, because I've, over the last 2 months, Ethiopia, Greece, Turkey, I've gone all over. And I just want to say that it's unanimous everywhere I've gone that people understand how important now wellness is and taking care of your body, and your governments, your people of high stature, which of course are not more important than anyone else on this call, but they understand that they have to take care of their bodies, which is one of the reasons that I'm asked to go to different places. And I think that, that is something that people need to be aware of throughout the world, that people are understanding now how important it is. But for us as Christians, this is something the Bible talks about, that we're supposed to take care of ourselves and do what we can to protect ourselves. And obviously, I don't have all the solutions. I think the only person that ever will, or the only entity, is God, Yep. But I do think that these products are helpful to give your body what it needs, the nutrients naturally that it needs, so that it can perform the mission, because each of us are so special. With one person not performing the mission that they were sent here to do, not doing the path that they were supposed to do, it hurts everyone.
Yep.
So it's really important that we each take care of each other and take care of our own bodies. And I hope everyone understands that. And I say this a lot. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, and then make good decisions, because you're so important. And, God loves us so much, but we have to love ourselves too. Yep. So, and we have to love others. So it's important that we share and that we try to support our own bodies and other people as well.
That's so true. People always say, well, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. You can't afford not to. Other than our love of Jesus Christ, the second most important thing is our health. If we're not healthy, we can't work and do the things he wants us to do for his purpose and his glory. And the other thing is, it's cheaper. I've done the math. It is cheaper to take one of these than to get lunch anywhere. Try to go to
Yeah.
McDonald's, even, and that is not good for you, but you'd spend three
No.
times the amount at McDonald's than you would with one of these, and you feel a lot better.
Oh yeah, you are going to spend $5 to $10. By the way, prices have gone up so much all over because of sourcing.
Yep.
Like if you go to a Wendy's, you're spending $10 for a meal, and you're not giving your body really the great things it needs. So I agree with you, and I think that another thing that's great about that company, about Root, is they have a plan where they can give back to people when they don't have to actually even buy it. They can just refer. I don't really understand the whole how they do it, but I do know that for me it's significant because we have people all over the world that are able to support their families, even in environments where there's things going on like Russia and Ukraine. We have the ability that we've been able to help people. So, or the company does. And again, I'm just a person that did the formulas, but I think that, this mission is important to all of us, that we can help people all over the world. And we're in 65 countries. We just launched Asia, or they just launched Asia, so people can share that with people all over the world.
And that's beautiful. Well, thank you, Doctor. It's always a blessing to have you on, and we do have to get you to come to Israel with us. You'll love
I
it.
want to go. I just need to know the dates, and then I'm going to send you the invitation for Cyprus. And the invitation stands on Tuesday if you want to come to New York to go to a UN meeting. I would like as much support as possible. It's a huge meeting, and people say to me, "Well, Christina, I don't trust the UN." And here's my comment: we were called to come out and be a light, and we only know certain things. We don't get to see everything. Only God sees everything. So I just try to surround myself by good people that make the right decisions.
Yeah, we surround ourselves with like people that you feel this radiation of love. I feel that when you come on. It's just it's love for the kingdom, and that's what it's all about. We got to surround ourselves with like people that love Jesus, and because it's contagious.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And so I'm going to be in contact. I'm going to send you information on Cyprus and then also on the UN. There'll be another meeting later in the year in London on the UN. But I would love to just send you over the information. So if you have time, just let me know what you think.
I love it. I love it. And I told you secretly that I may be going to a certain country here soon too. And people are going to go, why would you go to that country? It's because, just like you said, we bring the gospel of Jesus Christ wherever it is.
Absolutely.
To do it.
And your governments need sound advice. And for you not to go to places and give that advice means that someone else is going to give it. So I encourage you 100% to do that, because your world leaders need someone like you in their ear telling them sound wisdom, honestly.
Amen. Well, thank you, Doctor. God bless you. We'll talk to you real soon.
God bless you too. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this message.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Root Brand. To buy these life-changing products, click on the link below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share to help get the word out.